We want you to know that you're welcome to join us at 10 a.m. on Sundays. Please be sure to hit subscribe to receive our sermons. We can't wait to meet you. Thank you. Please be seated. Firstly, I would thank all of you who came out. I know it's beautiful, actually. You know, the Iowan in me is like, finally. But I know it's a lot of snow, but it is absolutely stunning. So I hope you enjoyed the drive here when you weren't like going like this, looking for ice. I hope you had a chance to look up and see the absolute beauty that this weather is. However, I will say church can be kind of like a football game. I understand if you're enjoying it from your couch in your jammies, so that's cool too. So today we celebrate the baptism of Jesus, and I think this is a really, really cool thing because a lot of times in our secular culture or with our tradition, we're used to baptism very early. And that's actually changing. A significant number of people are not baptized as young infants or children. They baptize later as an adult when they choose to enter the faith. But it's kind of whiplash, isn't it? We spent so much time getting ready for Jesus to be born. And we're like, yes, Jesus is born. The wise men finally made it. Now he's 30. So that is something I want to highlight is he's about 30 here. And what's really fun is when you think about it, we don't know anything about Jesus from the age of 12 when his parents forget him at the temple. So high five, all parents. You haven't done that badly. Because for the entire time that I've been at St. Anne's, no one has left a child. And so high five to all of our parents, because I would be the parent who accidentally did that. I mean, I haven't done that yet. But he's 12, so I'm not sure if it was actually an accident. I mean, I work in a middle school, I don't know. If you've ever had a 12-year-old, you're like, oh, Anyway, no judgment, Mary. You do you. But that's the last that we hear about him as a child, is when he's 12. And then he doesn't show up again until he's 30, and he decides to enter into the ministry. Now, I'm going to tell you a little secret. If you want good stories, you ask a clergy person what they were doing before they entered the ministry. I promise you, you will find good stories. They're full of them. We call them sermon fodder. But usually there's a beautiful gap in there where they're doing all sorts of fun stuff. Not me so much, because I went straight in, but college was good. And I have to be honest, I go ahead and I embrace it anyway because I'm all about humanness. So I just figure we'll just keep doing it anyway. But anyway, there are good stories there. So, don't you wonder what Jesus was doing? I'm guessing if it wasn't worth writing down, it was probably something you didn't want your kid to post on Facebook. I mean, we all know those things. We're like, I realize that you're in college and you're a young adult, but just don't post it on Facebook because that's on there forever. And your grandma's on Facebook too, so just don't. Okay, but we can assume as a young male, between the ages of 12 and 30, he did some pretty fun things. We honestly don't know what they are. But if you really want to be entertained, read the book Lamb. I highly recommend the book Lamb. Because it's good at filling in those stories. Lamb, L-A-M-B. Yes. Now, let me preface this with Meg is making this recommendation, not the Reverend Margaret Diana Clark Rhodes. It's got some good language in it, but it's very entertaining. So we don't know. And I think that is the power of this story, because we all want to earn God's love, right? We all think that if we do the right things, God will accept us and God will love us. Jesus doesn't do the right things. We don't know what Jesus was doing. But he didn't even enter his ministry until he was 30. He doesn't enter his ministry until his baptism. And yet, what happens at his baptism? He commits to God. He comes out of the water, and God says, what? You are my son. You are the beloved. With you, I am well pleased. That gives me goosebumps. I'll tell you why it gives me goosebumps. Because that is the same phrase that we are offered by God all the time. It doesn't matter if we've earned it. It doesn't matter any of that. All that matters is that God says to you and to me, you are my beloved. With you, I am well pleased. Not, thanks for all you've done. Good job, high five, here's your cookie, you can get baptized now. Not, here's your cookie, you can now enter ministry, you've earned it. But by your sheer existence, by you coming face to face with me, you are my beloved. With you, I am well pleased. Now, I know I spend a lot of time, I'll be honest, just straight up lecturing all of us because you pay me to do it, and so I may as well. I mean, it's every mom's dream come true. Like someone not only listening, but like being okay with you lecturing them. It's a dream. But I don't think that's what we need today. I think what we need today is to be reminded that it doesn't matter. That there's nothing that we can do or not do that takes us away from that phrase. You are my beloved. With you, I am well pleased. And here's the thing, like I know a lot of people are like, well, if you just say everyone's saved, then, why do anything good? Gosh, that's lazy. But, because here's the realization. When you realize, really, truly realize what we're saying, what we commit to in this Christian life, when you really grasp the concept that we talk and live a God that loves us no matter what, you can't live any other way. You cannot do anything but live in complete adoration and complete thankfulness. Because think about that. Think about what we are saying God is like. God's not punitive. God doesn't hate you. You don't have to earn anything. We have a creator and a God who loves us no matter what. No matter how broken, no matter how screwed up, no matter how lazy, no matter how wild and squirrely like we are, God loves us in that. And how can you do anything else but live a life that is committed to serving a God like that? It's not an easy out. It's a, oh my gosh, the power of that is overwhelming. And so I want us to hear that again today because I think it's so, so, so important because we live lives of complete pressure. How many people in your life are capable of judging you? It's literally everyone, right? We once in seminary got together and we were like, let's see if we can figure out how many people in our lives have the right to say no. It's a lot. Because just to become ordained in the Episcopal Church, you got to start with like, hey, you saying yes, and let me tell you that's a long fight. And then you go to your local parish, and you have to you got to go to your priest first, so they have to say yes. And then they have to agree to put together a committee in the church of people who like know you. Now, I grew up in my parish, so they like knew me. So you have this group of people, and they're like, okay, yeah, sure, we'll send this to the bishop. Then the bishop gets a hold of this paper and was like, yeah. So they can say no. Then the bishop has to commit to that and send you to another committee, which we call, don't even worry about what we call it, it doesn't matter. They go to another committee, which is a subcommittee of a bigger committee. They go to another committee, and they go over your paperwork. They've never even met you before, but based on what they see, and they're like, okay, yeah, sure, maybe. And then you go to another committee, and they're like, okay, fine, you can go to seminary. So then you get to start 3 years of super fun amazingness, full of professors who get to say what to you? Yes or no. And they keep doing these committees, and then they keep going back to your diocese and doing these committees again, and you keep going to them, and you're like, I love Jesus, I just want to serve Jesus. And they're like, but why? I was like, because I'm willing to. I mean, is there a long line of people out there who are like, hey, I want to do this? No. But they got all these people who can say no. So you got all your professors. And then when you finally graduate, you get to go back to the diocese and go through these committees all over again. So, and they can all say no. And then because it's the church and we just love committees, you get to go through what I call the eHarmony of clergy. It's our online OTM profile. It's eHarmony. If you've ever been on a search committee, you know what I'm talking about, right? So you get a match. And then you get to go to that bishop. You have to ask permission from your bishop and that bishop and whoever else is in charge over there to apply for said job because you got a match. And then you get to go to that group and they do their whole search process. They get to say no. And then you get to go to the congregation and actually do all this, and they get to say no or yes or whatever. And then we get there. That's how humans do it. You know how God does it? You are my beloved. With you I am well pleased. And aren't we glad our God ain't human? Let's stand together and say the words of the Nicene Creed. We believe in one God, Father the Almighty,